Today's episode is sponsored by Honeylove. I'm a person who, when I'm wearing clothing, I feel very restricted as it is. If I could, I would be nude all the time, to be honest. It makes me feel so uncomfortable, and bras are the primary enemy for me. But not anymore, because I have Honeylove. Honeylove is so nice, comfortable. Honeylove's bras feature supportive bonding that eliminates the need for uncomfortable wires. They also offer a wide range of sizes and cater to diverse needs of all women. It's time to spring clean your bra drawer. For a limited time only, you can get Honeylove on sale. Get 20% off your entire order with our exclusive link, honeylove.com/BCC. Support our show and check them out at thehoneylove.com/BCC. We all have that bra that we are absolutely obsessed with, and we keep just wearing it, and then it's always dirty, so then we have to wear one of our other bras. We're like, I don't want to wear this bra. I don't even know why I own this bra. I don't want it, and I want to wear that one bra that I really like, and I should just buy 16 pairs of that one bra, and that's how I feel about my Honeylove bra. I feel like I feel so confident and so comfortable whenever I'm wearing it, that when it's dirty, which is all the time because I've always worn it, I am so devastated to have to put on a regular bra of any other brand. Honeylove is not just supporting women, it's empowering women. Treat yourself to the best bras on the market and save 20% off at honeylove.com/BCC. Use our exclusive link to get 20% off, honeylove.com/BCC, to find your perfect fit. After you purchase, they ask you where you heard about them. Please support our show and tell them we sent you. Honeys, you deserve this. Free the pain and discomfort. Keep the support with Honeylove. Today's episode is sponsored by Cook Unity. If you've been listening to this podcast, you know how I feel about Cook Unity. I'm absolutely obsessed with it. Meal planning is so hard, especially when you're me, and I am horrible. I'm absolutely horrible at cooking. I'm so bad at it. Everything tastes bad. And if I make one thing that's good, it's not going to be sustainable. There's no way I'm going to be able to do it 2 weeks in a row. And I'm also trying to eat a little bit healthier right now. I'm always trying to eat a little bit healthier, and Cook Unity makes it possible. It makes me feel like I really have my life together because they deliver these crafted meals made by local chefs to my door. And I make something that takes 10 minutes in the oven, and I have this healthy meal. It makes me feel so good about myself and what I'm putting into my body. They have this veggie burger that I'm thinking about 24/7. You pop it in the oven for a very short amount of time, and you have this veggie burger that tastes so good. It's so juicy. And it's honestly, it's good for me. I can't even believe I'm saying it. It's so quick and it's good for me. I'm obsessed with it. Make the best meal plan ever with the convenience, chef-level quality, and endless variety of Cook Unity. Go to cookunity.com/BCC or enter code BCC before checkout for 50% off your first week. That's 50% off your first week by using code BCC or going to cookunity.com/BCC. Welcome to the chain. This is the BCC Club. I'm Kendahl Landreth, and I'm here with
Sarah Shower.
Incredible. Sorry.
Oh, sorry. You took a pause, and I didn't know.
Because I had to get the emotion, my raw emotion behind it. The incredible, amazing, irreplaceable.
Kendahl Landreth.
Kendahl Landreth.
No, Sarah Shower. So this is the BCC Club, where each week we go down an internet rabbit hole. This week we are going on the For You page, but before we get into that, we do have a special announcement for you guys.
Whoa.
Kendahl, what is it?
Well, there's been a lot of requests in the comments about us possibly doing a Patreon.
Yes.
And, we're nervous girls. We're nervous gals and days and whatever we are.
I was going to nervous half girls.
We're nervous half girls, and we're so scared. And we said, well, what if I don't know, maybe we're insecure. What if they don't want it? Mm-hmm. So we were like, well, maybe we should just ask, because that's good communication style, is to just be upfront about your feelings.
Yes. So we wanted to ask y'all if you would be down for that, because as y'all have noticed, we have multiple interests. We go off on tangents. There's a bunch of opportunity for bonus clips, behind the scenes, direct interaction with us. That was written down on the prompt, but I don't know. It's more of
Pay $5, we'll come to your house.
Yes,
you drop your address, we'll be there.
Yes.
Okay.
Shake your hand. No, but more of lives. So with whatever, if you would like us to do a membership, please drop in the comments below. Or if you're just interested, let us know. When you have to survey people to find out if they like this?
Yeah.
So find out. you guys let us know if you want it and what you want.
Well, and we've actually created a short survey to gather your ideas and input, and the link is included in the description box. And so if you want to help, just fill it out and let us know if you'd be interested.
Exactly. So most of you probably got ADHD, so wait till the morning, the Vyvanse hits, so you can be comprehensive, Yeah. Click the survey, fill it out, even people without ADHD.
I always hesitate to tell people to, when people be like, pause this video, go out of it, because I just know our viewers are just like us. I'm like, if you click out of this video, you're never coming back. And we need your retention rate.
Yeah. So. And I assume a lot of you are also cleaning while you're doing so. So it's like
put the mop down.
Yes.
Put the bleach down.
Yes.
And keep watching this video, and then later go click and take the survey.
Please, we need people to fill out the survey about membership. We're down for a lot. So.
Yeah, we are down for. I feel like we're so open to doing whatever.
Yeah, no idea is too bizarre.
We start those channels that are like Sarah and Kendahl 24 hours in a ball pit on our Patreon. I'd do it.
Weirdly, like that's the most like upvoted thing. It's like, oh my god, what did we? But yeah,
I think doing videos like that, me and you, would be so funny. Like, you know how like Cola Brandt or like people like Logan Paul will do videos where it's like, I go to the like the most dangerous, or like one of them did one of those videos that was, I go into the quietest room on earth, which is this room that you can like pay to go, and the longest anyone's ever been in there is like 2 minutes or something. I feel like us doing those would be really intense, or it could go really bad, but would be very entertaining.
Oh yeah, like us in a ball pit, but they're like, but just hang out and read. And like I use like 20 highlighters, so I just like drop one and oh geez.
And then I'm having to fish for it. Yeah, it's really
We
intense.
find someone's cell phone, a little kid's shoes. And then like there's a follow-up survey and they're like, do stuff with the stuff you found. And we're
like a Rube Goldberg contraption.
what's that?
It's a man who used to make these contraptions. Have you ever seen those contraptions where it's like the marble hits the tissue box, which flies into this button, which triggers, it's like a thing that triggers a bunch of things that does, at the end will like help you brush your teeth or something.
What's the name for that? That's a thing.
A Rube Goldberg contraption.
No. The short version of where like you set up dominoes and then you hit the dominoes. That's there's a word that's like is simpler than Rube Goldberg.
I don't know. That's what I've always called it. That's who created it.
Isn't that the mayor of New York?
No, it isn't. Rube Goldberg is not the mayor of New York. I think if he was, we'd be a lot better off.
Yeah. So guys, the link is in the description. We appreciate your help. It'll only take a few minutes, or if you're long-winded, take as long as you'd like. Honestly.
Yeah, please slow down. Come on.
Yeah.
We have a couple exciting announcements. We're going to be at VidCon.
We are going to be at VidCon, and we are doing a live episode recording. We're also going.
We sounded really confident about that.
No,
I think.
I don't know if it's. Well, the thing is, we're going to be doing a live episode. Whether or not it'll be recorded is up to people in the audience with phones. No, I'm kidding.
And then you have to edit it together and send it to us.
Yes, you splice up the most offensive thing. And then we're also going to be on someone else's podcast as well.
We're going to be on Under the Desk News. Mm-hmm. They're going to do a live podcast as well.
Yes.
It's going to be a hoot and a holler. Also, there's just a couple other things. I don't even fully know the itinerary yet. Mm-hmm. I'm excited for VidCon this year. Last year, I'm sure you've been a bunch of times, right?
Yeah.
I was so nervous last year, and then I got there, and I was like, this was nothing to be nervous about. Like, I was just like, I shouldn't have been so nervous. I was so nervous because I just had no idea. I had no idea what it was going to be like. And then I went and I was like, this is kind of like camp. Like, this is just like super chill. And this year I'm like really excited.
No, yeah, I'm really excited. When I was like on Vine, going to those events were nerve-wracking because I was in the age range of like most of the creators. Now that I'm getting more ancient, but not old, I feel like and also I've worked with these people forever. I'm like, I haven't seen you.
Where's your kid? How's your kid?
It's so crazy. You're married now. So yeah, it's really fun. I love it.
It's fun too. It also feels more chill for us sometimes because I don't know if you experience this, but I feel like the demographic is not always for us a little bit, like of people who come to VidCon. It's like a lot of younger kids. So it feels like the people who, we're not getting like, well, I don't want to speak for you. Maybe you got mobbed last time. I have no idea. But there's like a lot of young influencers that I'm like, who is that?
Yeah.
It's like a 12-year-old and I'm like, I have no idea who that is. And they're getting like mobbed as if they're the Beatles.
Oh, yeah.
And I can just like fully walk through the convention center. No one literally could care less.
Oh, yeah.
Which is kind of fun. But then people's moms will come up to me and be like, I'm a big fan of yours.
Yeah.
And then we'll like chat about, normal. We'll like actually get to know each other, follow each other on Instagram. I'm like, you're so nice.
Yeah.
So I feel like I just get to talk to a lot of the moms, which is a treat.
Oh yeah, I don't get mobbed, but I mean, I do get recognized a bunch, but like this is gonna sound crazy, but like when I was living on the East Coast, when I went to Playlist Live, and then now VidCon, which is on the West Coast.
I forgot about Playlist Live.
I know.
Do they still do that? No.
I don't know. But the thing is I have my gaggle of like gays that I like don't have people who mob me. I have a familiar group of 15 who are like, we're here again.
Sarah, good to see you.
No, seriously, I'm like, I see you guys and so the thing is like, I don't really have to, I have 4 or 5 things to do, so I don't really got to rush. And I don't really need to go back to the hotel all the time. So sometimes I just like to, so come to VidCon and be part of the gaggle of gays that just catches up with us.
Oh yeah, please.
Yeah.
It's always a hoot. I know, I'm doing a meet and greet, which I've always refused to do.
Why?
Because I've been like, no one will come to this. I've been like, no one will come to this, and also it gave me anxiety. I think the thought of someone coming up to me, because I've had this before, even when I've done a stand-up show, someone will come up to me and been like, I came from 2 hours away.
Yeah.
And I can't handle that. Like, even though it's like so sweet, I'm like, my instinct is to just profusely apologize and be like, there's no way that I am worth, not self-hatred to myself. Yeah. If someone's like, I came from Australia to meet you, and then your interaction is 2 seconds long, it feels so bad. Where you're like, I'm so sorry. Even though it's like, they're probably like, yeah, that's what they expected. They didn't think I was going to be like, come back to my hotel. Yeah. And they probably don't want that, but I just think but this year I'm doing it and I'm a little nervous. But I'm like, best case scenario, 2 people show up and then we can just hang out for a little bit. Until they want to go meet Charlie D'Amelio.
No, yeah.
I'm sure her and I have the same demographic.
You guys are side by side.
Yeah, sure, we'll be side by side and have the same people kind of coming through. How was your week?
Well, good. I was going to say, I've done meet and greets before, but the great thing is like like I said about the gaggle gays, the people who come to my meet and greets are largely like ADHD or autistic, so I don't feel pressure to talk because it's almost like they've been waiting to tell me what their interest is. So it's almost like if I'm like, how are you doing? They're like, enough. Like
your meet and greet, are you doing one this year?
No.
If you did, it would just be a big book club. It would just be people being like, I've read this book. Okay, I read this book. Okay, I read this book. I'd be like, okay, I love it. Just a lot of like a book swap.
I would love that. Like I think there's some book people who are going to VidCon, and I'm gonna be weirdly obsessed with them. Yeah. And they're going to be like, so the meet and greet ended. I'll be like, I'm a creator. I don't
have to fucking leave.
Yeah.
I'm here all day. And guess what? I can go back to your hotel.
Yeah. And I didn't like your commentary. So sorry. But yeah, I love people so I just kind of sit back and they're like, let me tell you about Bratz dolls in the early 2000s. And I'm like, buddy, I'm ready. Yeah. So my week was good. I had like a cold.
Oh, yeah, you were sick.
Yeah.
I'm so sorry.
I took a COVID test. It was like, no COVID. And I was just down and out. And my, now I'm sneezing now, but it's mainly cold air. You know when you just sneeze because dry?
Yeah.
Yeah. And so.
Sneeze because dry.
Sneeze because dry. It's the start of, it's Pride Month. And so now I get to.
Happy Pride.
Happy Pride.
I told you that.
We're gay now. But now it's AAPI month for me, part 2, but gay version. So I'm reading all the books that I wanted to read last month. But now all the authors are gay. So I read I'm Afraid of Men by Vivek Shraya. So fucking good.
It's good?
Yes. She gets it.
I'm about to read a big girl book, so I'm picking which one it's going to be.
What is it?
I don't know. I don't have one. I'm saying I'm going to read something that's really smart. And
nonfiction?
So I'm thinking nonfiction.
In what realm?
I have no idea. I started reading one, but I was just saying maybe that would be a good one to read.
Oh, yeah.
Is it good, do you think?
I'm Afraid of Men. It's short. It's less than 100 pages.
Incredible.
It's like very insightful. And also she discusses like how I feel about like people focus too hard on like other people being a good person because like if you only consider someone good or bad, you don't get to see all of them. Like, someone could mess up, but like you think about everything they've done, as a good friend and like it allows you to see all of them.
Oh, yeah.
Which is really cool. I love her. And she's also a creator, and so I want to weasel my way into her life.
Do it.
Yeah.
Get in there.
Yeah, I will.
Get in there.
And then I read No Country for 8-Spot Butterflies, which is about Guam. And it was really good. Wow. Very sad.
How long is that one?
It's actually short as well. I think it's around 100 pages.
That's nice.
Yes.
That's nice.
You should read I'm Afraid of Men.
Okay, I'm going to. I'm literally going to. I'm going to go to the library today. Is that the library, you think?
I mean, probably.
I got my library card this week.
Do it.
I did. I already did.
No, I mean, like, read it.
Oh, I will. I was very excited. The library, I felt so stupid. The library, I've known I need to go. I've been like, I've been buying my books at damn Barnes & Nobles, which I know, but first of all, I'm sorry. I fucking love Barnes & Nobles.
Yeah.
The way I heard someone told me a while ago, they're like, well, Barnes & Noble's CEO switched because they were kind of going downhill. This was years ago.
Yeah.
And they were like, because it's a huge fucking company. It's like it's a giant company. And people just weren't really going there anymore because people weren't reading. A lot of people weren't reading books anymore. They were doing ebooks, but they were ordering books online, but they were like not doing well. And they switched the CEO, and the CEO was like, well, we need to make it feel like a place where people come to relax. Like we need to, and they put coffee shops in them, and there used to be a rule that's like you couldn't sit and read, but they like took that out, and now they have all the employees like, if you walk into a Barnes & Nobles, it'll be like Janelle's favorite books of the month, and like all the employees are really excited, whatever. So I have a soft spot for Barnes & Nobles, mostly because it's right next to my gym. So whenever I leave the gym, I'm like, should I go buy myself a little book? I don't know. Yeah. I'm a new woman this year. I don't know what's going on with me. I never thought I'd be talking like this. But I am like, I don't want to be, I wish there was a local bookstore next to me. But and I could easily go seek one out. But Barnes & Nobles, it's just like, I walk past it every day, and then I see this book in the window, and and they have a huge, anyways, my point is, I've been like, I gotta stop going. I'm addicted to Barnes & Nobles, and it's so bad. I usually try to be very like ethical when I shop local. It's not bad, but I could be buying my books from better places. Yeah. You know what I mean? It's not like I'm not shopping somewhere that I need to like boycott or anything. Yeah. I'm just like, it's not a big deal, but I'm like, if I'm going to be reading as much, I was buying like 3 books a week at Barnes & Nobles. First of all, it was like hundreds of dollars.
Oh, damn.
It was, because it's expensive. Like each book is like $20. Barnes & Nobles is like, it's like, I was just like, this is not sustainable. Also, I'm going to run out of room if I buy every book that whatever. And I was just like, if I'm going to start reading, because I used to buy 1 book a year or something. So I was like, doesn't really matter. But I was like, if I'm going to be reading this much, I should really think about the way in which I'm buying my books. And obviously, famously, the best thing to do is get a library card. It's very good for your community. Yeah. And I would recommend it. But I pushed back for a couple reasons. I think I don't know what is in me, if this is like a hoarder personality, which I don't feel like I have. It's not hoarding, actually. I take that back. Sarah's read a book on hoarding, and it's not that.
Or maybe.
But it's this weird thing of like, if I read a book, I want to keep it. You know what I mean? I'm like, I want proof. I want to keep it on my shelf and be like, yeah, I've read all these fucking books. You know what I mean? Which is stupid. Like, the thought of reading it and then giving it back feels like I don't get credit for it, which is crazy because no one's giving me credit for it anyways. No one cares. Yeah. But it feels like I like looking at my bookshelf and being like, I read all these books. You know what I mean? I'm like proud of myself. Also, I struggle with germs a little bit. So I think when I pictured a library, I was picturing my middle school library. Yeah. And I was just like, well, there's going to be like gum in all the pages. Yeah. And then my partner was like, no, it's not really like that. They take really good care of it. Yeah. So I went and got my library card, and I could not believe it. I just kept turning and being like, and these are just free. You just take these and then you return them. Yeah. And they were like, has no one explained to you what a library is? And I was like, yeah, but it's just being here. I'm like, that's crazy. Yeah. They have every book I want, and if they don't, I just request it, and then they just get it for me. It's like they just buy it for me. It's like a book sugar daddy. Yeah. It's incredible.
The concept of a library is insane.
It's crazy. I'm like, screw Barnes & Nobles. And sometimes I go, if I'm treating myself, maybe I'll walk into a Barnes & Nobles. Yeah. Barnes & Nobles is also so nostalgic. Uh-huh. Do you feel that way?
Oh, yeah.
Like when I go in, they haven't changed it. They still have that little stage there that you could perform at as a kid. Kids, yeah. And sometimes I do my stand-up there. Just kidding.
What's the deal with sitting and reading?
It's just like a group of 5-year-olds booing me. Yeah. Today's episode is sponsored by Honey Love. I'm a person who, when I'm wearing clothing, I feel very restricted as it is. If I could, I would be nude all the time, to be honest. It makes me feel so uncomfortable, and bras are the primary enemy for me. But not anymore, because I have Honey Love. Honey Love is so nice, comfortable. Honey Love's bras feature supportive bonding that eliminates the need for uncomfortable wires. They also offer a wide range of sizes and cater to diverse needs of all women. It's time to spring clean your bra drawer. For a limited time only, you can get Honey Love on sale. Get 20% off your entire order with our exclusive link, honeylove.com/BCC. Support our show and check them out at thehoneylove.com/BCC. We all have that bra that we are absolutely obsessed with, and we keep just wearing it, and then it's always dirty, so then we have to wear one of our other bras. We're like, I don't want to wear this bra. I don't even know why I own this bra. I don't want it, and I want to wear that one bra that I really like, and I should just buy 16 pairs of that one bra. And that's how I feel about my Honey Love bra. I feel like I feel so confident and so comfortable whenever I'm wearing it. That when it's dirty, which is all the time because I've always worn it, I am so devastated to have to put on a regular bra of any other brand. Honey Love is not just supporting women, it's empowering women. Treat yourself to the best bras on the market and save 20% off at honeylove.com/BCC. Use our exclusive link to get 20% off honeylove.com/BCC to find your perfect fit. After you purchase, they ask you where you heard about them. Please support our show and tell them we sent you. Honeys, you deserve this. Free the pain and discomfort. Keep the support with Honey Love. Today's episode is sponsored by Cook Unity. If you've been listening to this podcast, you know how I feel about Cook Unity. I'm absolutely obsessed with it. Meal planning is so hard, especially when you're me, and I am horrible. I'm absolutely horrible at cooking. I'm so bad at it. Everything tastes bad. And if I make one thing that's good, it's not going to be sustainable. There's no way I'm going to be able to do it 2 weeks in a row. And I'm also trying to eat a little bit healthier right now. I'm always trying to eat a little bit healthier, and Cook Unity makes it possible. It makes me feel like I really have my life together because they deliver these crafted meals made by local chefs to my door. And I make something that takes 10 minutes in the oven, and I have this healthy meal. It makes me feel so good about myself and what I'm putting into my body. They have this veggie burger that I'm thinking about 24/7. You pop it in the oven for a very short amount of time, and you have this veggie burger that tastes so good. It's so juicy. And it's honestly, it's good for me. I can't even believe I'm saying it. It's so quick and it's good for me. I'm obsessed with it. Make the best meal plan ever with the convenience, chef-level quality, and endless variety of Cook Unity. Go to cookunity.com/BCC or enter code BCC before checkout for 50% off your first week. That's 50% off your first week by using code BCC or going to cookunity.com/BCC. Anyways, yeah. What? Anything else you did this week?
I'm blanking.
Sorry, I made you say 3 things. You did a good job.
I had a note about the library. Oh yeah, the giving away books. Yeah, I do like to keep all my books, especially because I annotate.
I was gonna say you like highlight and stuff.
Yeah, and also like some books after I've annotated them should not be out in the public.
Yeah,
you know, like I'm like I want to end his life.
Yeah.
Meanwhile, I'm like, who wrote this? But
it's also nice if you have a friend over and you've read a book you really like. Like sometimes, especially with some of the books I'll read, I'll be like, this is a book I can get from the library. I don't need to own this book. This book I know is gonna be bad, and I'm just reading it because I just want to. It's like trashy. It's like I don't need to buy Real Housewives on Hulu. I can just like watch it on the, you know what I mean? I need to own that.
Yeah.
But it's nice when you have a book you really like to, if a friend comes over, be like, oh, you should read this book and have it instead of but who's this for? What song and dance am I doing?
Yeah, I am. But the thing is usually if I give a book away, because like I have a lot of books, is I go to the little libraries. You know, you can like take a book, leave a book.
I have one right next to my house. I should be using.
Yeah, like so if you buy in bulk from Barnes and Noble, just drop a couple off there. But I've started to do this weird thing now where like I stop by the different little libraries across LA, and I like. You know, there's one in WeHo where I'm just dropping off books on feminism, and the one in Larchmont, it's all anarchy.
Like based on the demographic of the area, like this is what you need to know.
No, I'm like you guys. So I'm trying to like slowly get the community of Larchmont to get into anarchy.
Meanwhile, if I started dropping stuff off at the little library, there's going to be news articles that are like. I keep wanting to say the town that I live in, but it's going to just be like, this town is deeply horny. They're all reading hundreds of lesbian smut novels.
Yeah.
Why are the little libraries over there just filled with lesbian smut? I'm like, I don't know. Okay,
yeah, or like Captain Underpants.
Yeah.
It's like, who is this?
Who is this? That's so. Sorry.
What did you do this week?
I went to Sparks game.
Okay.
Which was so fun. I love going to
Sparks
basketball games. Basketball. I love going to basketball games. But I literally, since I can remember, have wanted to be on a Jumbotron, which is crazy because I'm not really I don't like a lot of attention like that. I know everyone who knows me is rolling their eyes because they're like, Kendahl loves attention, but I actually don't. Like, I love attention in a very specific way, and that I am a performer for a living, but in terms of like I'm not having a wedding because I don't like that type of attention. I don't want people looking at me when it's not supposed to be. Like, people are supposed to be, but I've always wanted to be on a Jumbotron more than anything in this fucking life. And I work so hard. I've been to a bunch of Nets games when I lived in New York. Yeah. And when we visit New York, we always go to a Nets game. And I always go to Sparks games. I go to a lot of basketball games. Every time we're there, anything they tell you to do, I'm up on my feet. I am like screaming. And any of the like things they do where they're like it's so embarrassing. It's humiliating. The other night when I went, they were like, act like your favorite emoji. I'm like doing these huge facial expressions trying to get in the Jumbotron. Yeah. One time in New York when I was in a Nets game, they were like, sing what is the one where it's like a singer in a smoking room?
The smell of wine and cheap perfume. Oh God, Journey.
It is Journey, but it's goes on and on.
Don't Stop Believing.
Don't Stop Believing.
Okay.
They're like, sing Don't Stop Believing, which I know it's getting better, but something to remember is that women's basketball games are usually completely empty. The crowd is like 6 people.
Yeah.
So it is deeply embarrassing. There's like 42 people in the full audience and I'm the only person standing up. It's not like it's a full crowd of people singing Don't Stop Believing. It was like 20 people. I was on my feet screaming Don't Stop Believing.
Yeah.
At the top of my lungs. They don't put me on the Jumbotron. That's what's wild. If I was at a game where it was like the whole crowd was packed, I'd be like, this makes sense. But why am I close to the front? I'm paying to get on the Jumbotron. I'm literally paying extra because I'm like, I've studied where they film people to get on this fucking Jumbotron. And I'm giving it my all. And I've never been on one. So the other night, it's like, I was sat closer than I've ever been. I was like, this is it. Like, I'm going to fucking get on the Jumbotron.
Yeah.
It's the people next to me are getting on the Jumbotron. And these people are not doing anything. They're on their phones. And it's like, they're on their phones. They don't even realize they're on the Jumbotron. I'm like, look, you're on the Jumbotron. Then they look up and kind of wave. And I'm like, put me on the Jumbotron. I'm giving it everything. The t-shirt tosses. I've never caught a t-shirt.
You never got a t-shirt?
No, I'm just like, I'm losing it. I'm like, what can I do to get on? This time I went to a really dark place where I filmed a fucking TikTok there to try to get some sort of attention from them to say, please put me on your Jumbotron. I can't do it. They don't want me. I'm not Jumbotron material.
Oh my God. And that's statistically very unlikely if there's only 42 people there.
Well, it's small crowds. It's getting better.
Yeah.
But it's, especially a couple years ago, it's small crowds.
Yeah.
And it's always they're putting people on who don't. It'll be like at the game the other night, my poor partner, there was a part where they're like, kiss, if you're here with your partner, kiss them and we'll put you on. And I'm like, make out with me. Yeah. Make out with me. And we're like kissing.
Look at those sisters. They're hugging.
Yeah. And then they're putting people on the Jumbotron who are like sitting next to each other who are like, oh no, this isn't my partner. I'm like, put me on.
Maybe that's what you have to do to get on it. You just seem completely disinterested.
Well, I've tried that also.
Okay.
I've done the like, please, I've done everything.
Yeah.
And I've even gotten out of my seat and walked to because I saw one time a guy got when he was in the aisles and did a full dance. I've tried that. It's so embarrassing. I see everyone around me looking at me like, this idiot. Like, she needs she needs so much attention. She's an adult. Like, this is and every person I talk to, they're like, well, they usually put children on there. I'm like, okay.
Yeah.
Well, I've had this before when I went to the Animal Actors show in Universal Studios, a show they no longer have. Have you seen it?
No.
It was incredible. It was a show they had for years where they would have actors, like animal actors who were in TV shows, do a show where they would like show how well trained they were. And at the beginning, they'd be like, hold up $1. Everyone hold up $1. And then they would have an owl come and sit on your shoulder and take the $1.
Yeah.
I had $1 ready when I sat down every time. I saw that show like 50 times.
Oh, yeah.
Hold my $1 up high. They never picked me. They always picked like a 5-year-old. I'm like, 5-year-olds get enough. Don't you think it's nice to sometimes give it to clearly an adult who's trying to live out some sort of childhood dream of theirs?
Yeah. Maybe, I love the idea of you up in the stands doing full character work. And like, they're just like refusing to acknowledge you. You gotta like dress up like a little kid, one of those spinny top hats.
Yes,
with
a diaper.
And then you got like a big old swirl lollipop in your hands. Like,
what was your you saw? I got arrested for this. Like woman at Sparks game dressed fully nude in a diaper, making people very uncomfortable.
I would be like, well, she got on the Jumbotron.
Yeah, Mia getting escorted out gets on the Jumbotron.
The local news, the ultimate Jumbotron.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, okay, so you went to a Sparks game. You didn't get on the Jumbotron. I've never been on a Jumbotron, but I have gotten a shirt and a wig.
That's a wig.
Yeah. It was
what was this at?
San Diego Gulls.
What are they?
They are hockey.
Hockey. I've always wanted to go to a hockey game.
Hockey game is really fun because you get to watch people fight. Like, it's just, that's what you really, you want at the end of the day.
Yeah.
And also, so I got like an orange wig and a shirt. And
man, I would lose my damn mind. I love stuff like that.
Yeah.
I love to be like,
go to a hockey game.
Yeah. God, I can't continue. I need to like, if I go to a hockey game and then I'm going to want to get on the Jumbo. Is there a Jumbotron there?
Yes.
I just want to get on one so bad. I don't know what it is. It feels like I used to make fun of people where I was like, why are people so obsessed with getting America's Funniest Home Videos? You know, when you're younger and it's just like everyone, there's these families who dedicate their whole lives to being like, we got to get on America's Funniest Home Videos. But it's like, how can I make fun of those people? That's literally me with the Jumbotron.
Oh, literally.
Why do I need to get on it so bad? It feels like, but then I'm also like, then there's moments where they'll do a certain thing and I won't do the thing because I'm like, if I don't want to get on the Jumbotron like this. You know what I mean? Because I'm like, I know that if I get on it in a way that it feels wrong or it feels like not, like if I don't know all the words to a song, I will not do it because I'm like, I cannot have my final moment getting on the Jumbotron and I don't know the words to the song. Yeah. It would be I'm worried there's going to be a big depression after I finally do get on the Jumbotron.
Yeah. No, I understand that. Crap. What was I going to say? Oh, there was like something else about like before Jumbotron. Oh yeah. So like the America's Funniest Home Videos. Yeah. I auditioned. I sent it a tape for All That's Funniest Kid in America.
Oh.
Like back in like.
You would have been great on that show.
I literally believed that, and then I saw the people who won, and I was so pissed. I hated them.
I know.
I was like, you didn't deserve that.
I know. It's all just random. Besides, I guess like Amanda Bynes, who's like, I will say it, the greatest comedic genius of our time.
People say I look like her all the time.
You do kind of look like her.
Well,
not her current. Like you look like kind of like her from like Easy A era. A little bit.
She's not in Easy. Oh, she is.
She is. She plays that Christian girl.
That's actually how I used to look.
You acted that way too?
No, I didn't act Christian, but like, yeah,
she is so good. It's so rare that you get a child actor who like keeps being good.
Yeah.
Devastating what's happened, but you know, she like most of the time it's like a kid who's good. I mean, look at Mary-Kate and Ashley. Like, yeah, we were getting to season whatever, like late seasons of Full House. It was not good.
Yeah, I think. I mean, there's always something about child actors who are like cast because they have like a, you know, really childlike round face with like chubby cheeks, and then they grow up and they keep that face, and it's almost like, whoa.
Yeah. It is. There is truth to like. There are certain kids you look at and you're like, that's the cutest kid I've ever seen. They will not look good later.
Yes. Sorry.
They won't look bad, but you're just like that face is going to like. And then I think there's kids where it's like they just looked very generic as a kid, but they end up being really beautiful later because it's just like, they just have a normal. If you keep that like really intense, like you'll see like a kid with like really deep dimples and like really chubby cheeks. You're like, you're the cutest kid I've ever seen. But then they keep that as an adult, and it like it's a little. You're like, oh, that's not. Well, now it's a little upsetting.
Yeah,
it's not upsetting. You're still beautiful. I'm just.
Yes.
You know what I mean. We're doing something a little different this week that I'm kind of excited about.
We are. What are we doing, Kendahl?
We're gonna just go. Sarah and I were like, we wanted to talk a little bit more about what's going on our internet world. Yes. Because I think what's so fun about TikTok, it's like we're at this time where it used to be just like whatever was big on the internet was what was big on the internet for most people. But I think it's like For You pages can look so different. And all the time I'll have someone be like, well, I'm sure you've heard about Janelle's ostrich. And I'm like, no, what is that? And they're like, you haven't heard about Janelle's ostrich? Oh my God, it's the biggest thing on TikTok right now. So we are going to each kind of go back and forth with things that have shown up on our For You page this week and just kind of chat about those things. Yeah. I don't know what yours are. You don't know what mine are. Do you want to start?
Well, I mean, mine are not like super. I mean, they're like things that have popped up a lot, but I don't know if they're like trending topics.
No, it's good. I think it's good if they're not trending topics. I think it's just like what's on your For You page.
Well, I mean, this is like a trending topic, but it's like the gay pride events that are happening across LA.
Oh, really? Okay.
Yeah. I mean,
and this has not been on mine.
This hasn't. No, you don't consume gay content?
I swear to God, I've said this before, but my For You page thinks I'm a Midwestern mom. First of all, I'm not on TikTok very often. Yeah. Don't do a lot of like scrolling on TikTok. But when I do, it's like I will search like cleaning or I'll search like.
You're not on TikTok often?
No.
What do you do all day?
I don't. I mean, I read and then I like go to the gym and then I like practice my Japanese.
You're still learning Japanese?
Can you believe it? Day 90. I think we're almost to day 100 of my Duolingo.
How come this hasn't come back up?
Konnichiwa.
What the fuck?
Can you believe that? Konnichiwa. It really is sad because I am on day 100 and I think I can do it. So I'm like, oh, I'm getting really good. What is crazy? If you show me like a sentence at this point, like a sentence in full Japanese characters, I would be able to read it to you. I would not know what it said, but I would be able to like read it to you. Yeah. Which is exciting. But when I go to speak Japanese, I would have to speak. If you told me to say like, my wife is sitting over there, I could like say it, but it would take me like 20. I would be like so slow saying it. So I'm not very good, but I'm getting there and I'm doing a lot of workbooks and stuff. Good. But I just try to be, I try to like, I don't know. I try to not be on my phone very much. Okay. And I really try to not scroll. Obviously I do sometimes, but I'm not on TikTok very much. Okay. Because it makes me depressed.
Really?
Yeah. Not because of the content, just like scrolling on my phone makes me depressed.
Oh, okay.
You know what I mean?
Yeah. I can understand that. I feel like I get most of my news and like books and stuff. I love hearing other people's opinions on things, and sometimes I read about something that's really hard, and I need to hear a smart person talk about it.
Yes. I think on TikTok sometimes because I think I also go to my who I follow.
Yeah.
So like I'll go to who I follow and watch their stuff.
Uh-huh.
But I think sometimes I get really irritated when people share information that's just so deeply wrong.
Oh, yeah.
Which is crazy because I love to do that.
Oh, yeah.
But it's obviously different when you're doing it yourself. But I think just watching people, it like infuriates me in a way that I've had to just be like, I don't need to listen to this. Like I would rather like go watch, like I much am more like in the mornings when I'm making breakfast, I'll like turn on the news or I'll turn on like The Daily Show, which is not like news, but it's fun and it's educational.
Yeah.
But I like will turn on a long thing versus like a shorter like on TikTok. So I feel like I get news more from that way because I think sometimes I can get more confused on TikTok because it's like someone will post something about politics or something that I'm like, oh, okay, that's interesting. And then I'll read the comments and the discourse makes me like more confused.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? Where I'm like, well, maybe I don't even know who this woman is that's giving me this original information. Maybe she's like fully wrong. Yeah. I don't know her background. I don't know anything about her. And it just like stresses me out a little bit. You know what I mean?
Yes. My thing for, I don't really like, I don't really watch a lot of discourse that involves like straight people. I mean, specifically straight relationships, because it's always the same complaint. Did you ever realize that like, we shouldn't be manipulating dudes into liking us. We should just be authentically scroll. Shut up.
Yeah.
Or like, and it's just like beauty standards. Beauty standards conversations are important, but it's like sometimes we're beating a dead horse.
Yeah.
It's intersectional. Jesus Christ. Like, okay. So yeah, scroll. It's just surface level. But then when I get to a topic that's complicated and I'm looking for someone I'm looking at the comments. If you use more than 2 buzzwords in your comment,
you're done.
You're done.
You're out of here.
If you cannot explain a complicated concept without using the actual term, you don't understand it well enough. And like, if the person keeps, especially if you go through the comments and you keep repeating, the person will refuse to explain themselves. Or like, I did read The Art of Logic. And so she talks about like how there's people misunderstand each other because we're at different axioms, which is levels of understanding. Like we could be talking about, something that's like a lesbian problem. Yeah. And someone will be like, well, I feel like we should all just accept gay people for who they are. And it's like, you're actually a rung or 2 above this. Yeah. We're actually getting a little bit more abstract and like specific. We agree with you, but we're not
talking about that.
Yeah. So there's no use in responding to what you're saying because we don't have, logic is directional. Yeah. And, if we're not on this, I'm not going to work my way back up to just gay 101. Right. You get to argue with yourself. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I do, totally. Yeah. And speaking of gay 101, so you went to this, you're seeing on TikTok Pride
You're like,
events.
wrap that shit
No,
up.
I'm not. I'm always like, Sarah does such a good job of getting back to topics, so I'm like, I got to be really good. I'm going to be really professional podcaster here. And I'm going to say, what about these Pride events you're seeing on Instagram or TikTok?
Well, I specifically get recommended sapphic events. Do you get like those like sapphic like there's like Dyke Day and stuff like that, but there's like a few like sapphic events like the Plant Plug or Dyke Day LA Pride, Queer Room, Selfish, Somatic Sessions, Healing Jam. Like these, it just, so there's this thing called sapphic.la, and it goes through all of the events like art fair, Pride Festival is happening on Sunday. There's an ASL class with Mixie Pride Edition, Dana's Pride Party. So like if you're like Butch or Mesk or Futch, you can like find, or if you're deaf and you're sapphic, or you can find like literally every event.
Yeah, that's amazing.
Normally I don't know why I was like, oh, this is such a great idea, because I always feel like there's so many gay stand-up shows. Yeah. Where I'm like, where do we tell people about it? And then everyone is like, have you heard of a bulletin board? And I'm like, I don't.
You went to your local coffee shop. You're like, yeah, I put one up on a bulletin board. It was a poster. Thank you.
Yeah, I mean, every time I go to a coffee shop, like the things on the bulletin board are like missing dog. Yeah. Or like.
Oh, you mean an actual bulletin board?
Or both like internet and like physical.
I see. Okay. Yeah. Okay. Got it.
Yeah. Where I'm mind-boggling. Like Yeah. I just have never been that organized. So it's just, I was gonna go through each one of these, not like on the podcast, but be like, what resonates with me, because some of these are like sober events or like class events, and I think I would want to do that. Because I'm going to obviously be going to a bunch of drinking events. Yeah.
Yeah, totally.
Yeah.
Totally.
Are you doing anything for, well, I mean, I've asked you, but like, are you doing anything Pride specific besides the float?
I'm going to be on a float.
Yeah.
I'm going to be on the YouTube float, which will be fun. I've never been on a float before at Pride, so that will be a good time. My partner and I are both going to be on it.
Hell yeah.
And, but like nothing too crazy. My friend who is gay, it's his birthday. So we're celebrating his birthday most of the week. And I think we might go to another Sparks game because they have like a Pride game.
You're trying to get back on that Jumbotron.
I'm literally trying to get back. And it's so bad because every time I'm like, how much more should we spend for meat? It's like, this is not worth it, Kendahl.
Yeah.
I mean, what I will say is like at a WNBA game, not all of them, but for the Sparks, like the home games.
Yeah.
Usually it's like, I mean, it's not going to cost you to get a front row seat is not that crazy of a thing.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Besides them being like sold out, but in terms of cost, it's not like other games where it's like $2,000 to $80,000. It's not like that. But we're going to go do that. I don't do a lot for Pride. Not out of any. I love Pride. I'm just not a huge.
It's okay.
I'm
you
not
don't
a
like
huge
gay people.
partier. I don't like gay people. I don't believe in it. But I just am like not a huge partier. So sometimes it feels hard for me when it's like, then in June it's like, well, let's party. And I'm like, I still don't want to party. I know and I think we probably will go to Dyke Day.
Well, I'm going to go, so you should go.
Oh my God, great.
Yeah.
This is tomorrow, right?
Yes.
Yeah. I'll be there. Let's go. I think I might go. My friend was like, well, we're going to have like a thing set up with like they're going to like set up a thing, with like a canopy and like with chairs and like a charcuterie board. I said, all right, I can do that. I can be outside for a couple minutes. So that sounds fun, but I'm just not a huge, it's also so hot. I pretty much hibernate all of summer.
Yeah.
Like I feel like I get seasonal depression, but opposite of other people where it's like not during the winter, like because it's in LA. It's like it's never that cold.
Seasonal mania?
I just get depressed during the summer. Not like I don't get depressed, but I get very like I stay inside, all my blinds are drawn, the AC is cranking because I'm so hot all the time.
Oh yeah.
Whereas in the winter in LA, which is just like perfect weather, I'm always out. I'm always doing stuff. But I just never see daylight during the summer because if I keep my windows open, it gets so hot.
Oh, yeah. That's like Naomi. Naomi, they're like...
they're from Poland.
They are, but also like they are considerably smaller than me. And so they get like real cold real quick, though, the thing is. And so they'll open the windows, turn off the AC, and I'm like...
No way.
I'm going through menopause.
That's like one thing I really love about... the one thing I really love about Jordan and I's relationship is crazy. One of the things I really love about our relationship is that we both run so hot. So we are like... I feel like throughout the year, we do as much as we can for the environment so that in the summer, we're just like, doesn't fucking matter. Like, our AC is at 61 all fucking summer. It never is turned off, and we're so sorry.
Yeah.
I'm the Taylor Swift of Los Angeles, really, with all my carbon emissions. We obviously turn it off sometimes, but it's like cranking. We want it so cold because we're so hot all the time. Like, if I take a shower in the summer, I take a cold shower because I cannot take a hot shower because I come out and I'm like sweating even though I'm just got out of the shower. I can't do it.
Oh yeah, I used to date this person who was incredibly productive, and turns out she like, if you're warmer, you actually are a little bit more productive.
Interesting.
So she kept her house at 73. And the thing is you couldn't sit down for long because like you would feel so hot.
Yeah.
And so she like worked and stood up with the windows open, and like she was incredibly productive, and it did make me...
She's scary. Sounds a little scary.
She was...
She got it done, though.
Triple Virgo.
Goddamn.
But she knew exactly... But yeah, okay. And so I was like, I try to do that sometimes. Like, I'm like, remember that. I'm like, when you're warmer, you are a little bit more productive. And I am just like, actually... I'm kind of jealous. Naomi can take off their shirt and like run around, and
You can do that.
Well, I mean, like legally.
Outside.
Yeah.
All right. I guess... So silly though.
Yeah.
The heat stuff is temperature stuff. I'm always hearing different stuff. People are like, if you want to be healthy, stick yourself in ice, and if you want to be healthy, go in a sauna, and if you want to be healthy, it's healthier to be hot. It's like all of these temperature stuff. Or I know people are like, don't drink cold water, drink lukewarm water. I'm like, shut up.
Yeah. Well, I think
Should I be cold or hot?
that's the whole like thing behind like medicine, I think. Is like if you're too cold, you start to go into hypothermia and your body shuts down. And if you're too hot, your body shuts down. So it's like in either direction.
It's not good.
Shutting down.
Yeah.
So it's about like maintaining a normal internal, which is hard when like, you know, the AC versus the sun versus my thick layer of I don't know.
Of what? Vaseline.
Residual alcohol weights. I don't know. You know what I mean. And so it's just, we're talking about weather here today on the BCC. What are you seeing on your For You?
Of course, mine is so stupid. My For You page is horrible.
Okay.
It is so much of this couple, Matt and Abby. I can't get them off. Have you seen them?
Matt and Abby. They sound like two golden retrievers that are married.
I've talked about them before. I've talked about them before. I can't. It's like a train wreck I can't look away from. They have the Unplanned podcast.
Okay.
They, don't worry, they wouldn't probably be guests on our podcast, so it's not, we don't have to really worry, but we wouldn't probably get along.
Oh, yeah.
Have you seen them?
I'm seeing them now. I'm looking at a picture. They're
what I would say, like their career is made out of rage bait, but they are not making rage bait. They are not meaning to, but they are so famous because people are so angry at them all the time.
Yeah.
And I genuinely do not think they are trying to make people mad.
Yeah.
But their takes are they're not even bad. They're so pointlessly stupid.
Yeah.
So they have this, they went viral as a couple. Because they're both just, to be honest, white. Like they're just like a white couple.
That'll do it.
I mean, but you know what I mean? They're a straight white couple that is like both kind of in shape and they now are millionaires.
Yeah.
There you have it. The perfect recipe. And so, then they've had kids now, and then they started this podcast, which I think has been great because I think the podcast does well because people are obsessed with watching What a Nightmare It Is. Matt, is truly the worst. He's like he's like so many guys. He's not the worst in a way that I'm like, someone needs to check on her. Like, everyone's fine in the situation. He is just kind of like not the smartest, and also they got married very young. So it kind of feels like it just went from like having a mom to now having Abby. And also like he never really had a job. They just immediately became social media stars.
Yes.
So his perception on life is just very vanilla. It's kind of like he has no thoughts worth sharing.
Yes.
Because he doesn't live a life that's relatable to anybody else. And he has a very privileged life. So he has a podcast where he makes hot takes, but it's his hot takes are based in just like nothingness.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yes.
And so recently they're in hot water. This is what was on my For You page.
Okay.
Recently they had this video go viral because she was like, they were like, we're boycotting Father's Day this year. And she was like, well, last year Father's Day fell on Matt's birthday. Keep in mind, she was like 8 months pregnant at this time.
Yeah.
She was like, and he feels kind of like I looped him into one holiday. And he's like, well, you did loop it into one holiday. And she's like, yes, I did. And I think I like let him down. And she was like, but I mean, I got him a cake from Dairy Queen and we had a bunch of people, friends and family over. And he's like, well, and she goes, and we grilled. And he goes, well, I did the grilling. Anyways, they've decided that they're going to now celebrate Father's Day 2 months later in the year. So it's not even close to Matt's birthday.
Yeah.
Because he deserves 2 days of celebration. And people find this take very funny because it just seems like a child. Like this is what you do for a child almost.
Yeah. And
what do you think?
It completely doesn't understand the term boycott.
Yeah, I'm like, boycott? Yeah, that's true. Boycotting Father's Day. It's like not helpful at all. Like, what is that? It's not what boycott means.
Yeah, like to boycott, you're hoping to spur change from the thing that you're boycotting, which would mean what Big Father is gonna have to like. You wanted to change its definition of dad, or like the date for you. And also boycotting works when it's a collective sort of action. Yeah. And I guess your fans could boycott it, but how does that measured? in Hallmark cards? Like in high fives? Like, I don't know. So, does his birthday always fall on, is Father's Day like something that changes?
I think it changes. I don't think it always falls. I think last year it fell on it.
Yeah.
I'm like, we've talked about this before, but I feel like in relationships too, it is a red flag if you have to focus so much on holidays. Like, I think your relationship is not good if you're like, let's see how my boyfriend acts on Valentine's Day. Like, is he going to show up for me? And it's like such a big deal. And it's like, well, what is he going to? And I've been in relationships like that before where I was like, well, like they didn't really do as much as I would have wanted for Valentine's Day. Yeah. But because it held so much weight because they were not a good partner to me every other day of the year. Yeah. Versus like, I don't know, now that I'm in a healthy relationship, I'm kind of just like, I don't care. Like we don't have to. I feel like 2 years in a row for Valentine's Day, we've like been like, oh shit, it's Valentine's Day next week. Do you want to go out to dinner? I don't really care. But it's not like, well, we'll see what you get me and that'll prove to me if you love me or not. Yeah. Because it's like, well, we kind of show up for each other. It feels like, it starts to feel silly when you're like, well, I buy you little things all the time and we do fun stuff all the time. So now it's like Valentine's Day. Ooh, what are we going to do? You know what I mean? And it's always fun to do something sweet and like nice. But I think with Father's Day, and it's like you both have kids, you're both doing your best. And she even said in the podcast, she's like, well, 365 days I was growing, well, not 365 days, but she was like, I was growing our child in my body for you. And
damn, it's 12 months, Yeah,
I know. And she was like, and it was 12 months as long as pregnancy recorded. And he was like, I don't care. But it's like you're both parents. Like you don't get, I'm sorry, you had kids, so you don't get to just like, your birthdays may not look the same as they used to now. And you may not get a full day to fucking be celebrated because you weren't forced to have a child. You have a child and your wife is equally also threw you a party from what she told me. From what she said on the podcast. I'm like, you needed more than a party? You needed 2 parties. You wanted a Father's Day party and a regular. It's like, what is wrong with you? Yeah. Why do you need so much acknowledgement and recognition?
That's crazy. After like reading so much about different cultures, like in cultural holidays, there's such a deep meaning to like different holidays like Chinese New Year and stuff like that because like it's ingrained in your culture and it's like something passed down and like rituals are important. But when you think about like how a lot of Americans treat like Valentine's Day, it's like people are like, oh, it's not, people don't treat it like it's deep because it was truly, not to be like my dad, corporations.
Yeah, but like
how deeply.
It's not deep. Yeah,
it's like Saint Valentine. It really depends on like who you're talking about, but like he doesn't actually care. And also the fact that Father's Day is celebrating a role that you're supposed to be playing. And you have neglected your wife and the person who is still carrying your child. You are not actually fulfilling that role.
In my opinion, if your wife is pregnant, you should do 2 Mother's Days. You shouldn't even do a Father's Day.
Yeah, like you're doing dad bad because you're disrespecting your wife. You should not celebrate Father's Day, you loser.
Because I think what it is like people will be like, I think sometimes when someone's in a bad relationship, it'll feel like, well, you suck all the fucking time. Yeah. But on Valentine's Day, you were set up so easily to make me feel valued. Or like on Mother's Day, you were set up so easily. Every store was reminding you to do this thing. Oh, yeah. Every person was reminding you to do this thing. You could walk into a store and easily find something to do for me that was nice. It's set up for you to like wish me a happy Valentine's Day and do something sweet. And you still kind of like dropped the ball a little bit. Yeah. That can hurt really bad. But it's like, if you're in a good relationship, you should be celebrated as a father or mother all the time. You should be celebrated as a partner all the time. Yes. But I think it means so much. But I just thought it was so interesting. He always has some take that I'm just like, what is this take? It's not even offensive. I'm not even offended by it. I'm just like, this is insane. Yeah. And people always like feel bad. So he is also a singer. Yeah. Kind of.
Of course he is.
And he releases these songs. And he basically released this one song that was about how this is another thing that was on my For You page. He got a lot of flack for it because he was talking about he was depressed. And how he was like, well, what was the song called? It was like Still Not Good Enough or something, where he was like, I have my wife and my kids and I'm still just so unhappy. And I get what he was saying, but the way the song was written just felt really bad. And then he kind of had his wife do a reaction video to it. Yeah. Which was weird because it's like, what is she supposed to do besides be like, oh shoot, like, should we get you on medication? Like, what is she supposed to say to that? And so he always kind of does like stuff like that. Or they'll have these moments on the podcast where one time she was like, well, you know, like attraction grows. Like when we first started dating, I wasn't really attracted to you. And he goes, oh my God, same. And even though she said it, because a lot of people were like, God, I would die if I was Abby. And he said that. And I'm like, well, she said it first. But it's the way he says it. It's like he just has no social awareness of like how you should say something, what's it okay to say about your wife. They're just always kind of, you can tell, arguing off camera. Yes. Like you can kind of tell that something is not and they talk a lot about how they will never divorce because they don't believe in it. And they were like, I think a lot of people get divorced because they get married thinking divorce is an option.
Yeah.
And I was like, yeah, because I think divorce is a great option.
Yeah.
It's an incredible option.
You said they're Christian?
I don't know. If they're not, that's insane. All their friends are Christian. They don't really talk about being Christian a lot.
Okay.
And I've seen discourse on that too, because it's kind of bizarre because anyone who follows them is a Christian.
Yeah.
Because why the fuck would you follow these people if you're not a Christian? They're like, and I think they maybe started, I don't know their religious stuff, but they are friends with a lot of Christians.
Okay.
They're very close with Della Vlogs. Do you know these people?
No.
Kill me. I need to be taken away.
What if I did? That would be so, I would
They're
think.
the people who just adopted a baby like a year ago, and then they got like scammed before that. So they were like vlogging everything, being like, we're about to welcome twins into our home, and then they like had a full nursery set up, and then found out it was a scam.
I'm not gonna, after reading more about like, you shouldn't really I guess diagnose people, but ruining holidays is a really big like red flag. And also there's something, I read this book called When Narcissism Comes to Church, and there's this thing called vulnerability. It's where you pretend to be vulnerable, but it's like very much inauthentic, and it's like a classic, and I'm not saying that he is, but it's like a classic like narcissistic thing, and it's a very much like a calculated sharing. I don't know, he's just giving a lot of red flags. It's interesting that I would wonder why they don't talk about religion that much. Maybe it's not. I don't know.
I might be wrong. I might be wrong about that. It's just interesting. I wonder what their conversations are behind the scenes, because every comment is, I hate Matt. Like, I've never seen anything like it. Like, he is this podcast that is like successful, I think. And it's like all the comments are like, I hate Matt is so horrible. Why don't they divorce? Abby deserves better.
Yeah.
Why? Because even though, like, I think I've even said this before, I don't think her and I would be besties, but she seems to have like critical thinking happening.
Yes.
And she says stuff that I'm like, yeah, I get that. And it seems like she like changes her opinions. I think I said this before, but I think she like took her kids off the internet. It used to be a big part of the internet. I think she like clearly really cares about being a mom.
Yeah.
And he just like, I think, wanted to be famous, and is like now really like will do anything for it.
Yeah.
Which I think is complicated, because it is like, from what I've heard from them. Why do I only know people on the internet? I don't know anything about anyone on the internet, but the only people I know intimately about the internet are people I don't follow because I hate them, but I've somehow learned so much about them. But from what I've heard from them, they did not have any money before.
Okay.
And then they, now they're millionaires because they're on TikTok. And so it's like, I do think it's very hard, because I'm sure from his perspective, he's like, well, what are we going to, we both get to stay at home with our babies all the time. What are we going to do if we got to keep cranking that stuff out, which is like, people know our opinions on that. But it's also like, I think it's not black and white. It's like, it's bad to do that, but can I understand where someone would be anxious about stopping? You know what I mean? So it seems like she's always kind of like the grounded person with thoughts, and he's just kind of like, he sounds like an 18-year-old. He doesn't sound like an adult. Yeah. Who has 2 kids. So I don't know. It's interesting.
As someone who's been doing this a long time, first off, if you don't have a financial advisor, you should be investing. You should have stocks. You should have a portfolio. So you shouldn't have to worry too much about your future with just looked at your subscriber count. You have a lot of money coming in each month, right? Yeah. Like, you should have sort of investments. Like, I don't know. So why would you worry? And then also, if your kids grow up where they're like, I don't want to be on camera anymore, you could, develop a hobby or skill.
I know. It's interesting. It's so interesting. It's bizarre.
Yeah, it's crazy, like, how these, like, family vloggers, like, they just spend this, like, a lot of time locked in anxiety and fear of, like, what happens when my children grow up? It's like, how about, like, you like think about who you are like outside of them, and like if you saw Abby like take up sewing, and like you would be like, oh, Abby, yeah. I know that's not like controversial, but like
no, totally. I think it's just like I'm like grateful. Like, before I did the internet, I had no money. I was like in $20,000 worth of credit card debt. I worked at a restaurant. I would put my rent on a credit card. Like, I had no money.
Yeah.
And even like I felt very lucky because my mom set me up well with like credit to like get a credit card and be able to put my rent on a credit card. Like, I was lucky in a lot of ways, but I had no money, and I did not have like a backup. If I was out of money, I was out of money. Like, there was really nothing. And I'm always grateful for that because I do feel like I don't have a huge fear. Obviously there's anxiety and I think I'm starting to get over it. The first couple years of doing the internet, I was like, I gotta make as much as I can so I can set myself up and whatever. But I think at a certain point it's like, what if this all went away tomorrow? I'm like, it'd be okay. Like I would go, there's other things and when I was 18, that was different. When I was 18, I was like, well, this is all I want to do. Yeah. But as I've gotten older, I started to be like, well, I have other things I like. Like if internet and comedy went away tomorrow, there's a bunch of careers I would be like interested in. You know what I mean? And I think it's like, it would be a bummer, but also like, I'm not scared of what happens if I run out of money because I've been there and I was fine. And I'm setting myself up for success so that hopefully never happens. But also like, it's not the end of the world. It's okay. But I think there's some people who started making that type of money at 16 years old on the internet. And it's like, they don't know what they think when they run out of money, they just cease to exist or something. Yeah. But it's okay. I mean, it's not to sound like not having money is totally fine. It's not, and it's stressful. And I also didn't have health insurance at the time and I couldn't go to the doctor. Like there's a lot of things about it that were really hard. Yeah. But I was able to I like having that security within myself to be like, everything will be okay. Yes. I'll figure it out. Yeah. Unless I get cancer, then I guess it is over for me.
Kendahl. Yeah.
I mean, like if I don't have health insurance and I get like a really bad disease, and that's not good.
Kendahl, if you got a disease, I mean, I'm pretty sure you could afford like your healthcare, but also if you couldn't, I would definitely like help crowdfund something.
Thank you. I appreciate it. Like, I don't mean to sound insensitive. I'm like, if you don't have any money, you're fine. Like obviously you're not fine. And I wish the government did a lot more for people who didn't have a lot of funds, but I'm just saying I don't have that like, what would I do? I'm like, well, I have a bunch of things I would do. Yeah. Whereas I think, Matt and Abby, at least Matt seems to be like, well, TikTok's the only job I've ever known. So without TikTok, in YouTube, what is there?
It's crazy that they don't see what's that old guy who's like dated Trisha Paytas?
Jason Nash?
Yeah, they don't see him as a cautionary tale. Like the thing is he's white, so you'd recognize him. Yeah. Like it's kind of sad. Like I mean, the thing is you said that every time they say something that's supposed to be like a hot take, it's not that it's offensive because it's just uninformed, and that's what shallow people are. And shallow people, they don't think critically, they don't have a backup plan, they're not adaptable, right? Like, and you have all this time and money because we know the content cycle, like you do have time to like look into, I don't know, invest in your knowledge, right? Like you should, I don't know, if God.
It's just like, why are you doing a hot take on Father's Day? Like, actually, nothing could matter less. I'm sorry. Nothing could matter less. It really doesn't matter. Which, like, not everyone needs to have a podcast. I mean, we proof of that. You don't need to have a podcast that's like, oh, we're given. I don't want Matt and Abby to do like a political podcast where they comment on things that I think are important. That's not what I want from them because I don't think that would be good. But also, it's like, it's just interesting that I think there is truth to like, well, these people just have a platform because of their privilege. There's really nothing they do that's different from other people, which is, I guess, could be said for anyone, but it's just very interesting.
Well, to the aesthetic creators and like commentary or humor creators usually have developed a very strong, like if you're talking or singing, or doing some sort of art, you've likely developed a very strong perspective that people latched onto. Aesthetic creators in this specific arena that are not artistic, like they really haven't developed a perspective. Yeah. So when they move over to podcasts, you're like, God, what is that? Or like we talked about Threads.
I mean, a lot of people in The Bachelor have like podcasts as well. Yeah. Where it's like, what do you, and not that, it's not like I need to decide who needs to say something. Yeah. But I just know how this industry works, where it's like, you get any amount of success, people are like, well, you need to start a podcast. Yeah. And it, like, as we know, very saturated business. There's a lot of podcasts going on. And it is very interesting. Because I think, I do like to think you and I give very specific perspectives. Mm-hmm. But even you and I were always like, but look, like we know that there are things that we don't understand. Even if we had at one point, it's like, I'm not going to make a big comment on what it's like to be like, fine. I'm not going to like comment on, besides like giving my empathy, but it's like, I don't need to be like, here's what it's like to not have funds, because even though I've been in that place, it's like I'm not anymore, and there is an understanding of like things are different now. I don't know, you know what I mean? I feel like we do have a good perspective, and we are aware that like we don't have access to all the information.
Yeah, I think we're getting more aware of like blanket statements using the term all. I don't. I don't think I think I read, but I don't think I'm smarter than anyone. I read to connect with people. However, when it comes to couples like this, I do think that they're idiots.
Yeah.
But no, if you were like a normal everyday person who didn't know something and you asked me a question, it wouldn't cross my mind to think, oh, you fool. I would think these types of people are like exalted by society and they really are offering nothing new. And it's truly based off aesthetics.
Yeah.
And I think that is open for fair game. And I'm shit talking them specifically.
Yeah.
Right, guys? And Matt and Abby.
Mabby.
Or at. But yeah, there was something else I wanted to say. It was a couple minutes back.
Oh, man. I don't know. I was just saying that I just think I don't know. But I feel bad I think I think this country is hard.
Okay, yeah. Yes.
This is my closing statement, and really big. America it's hard.
Yes.
I do think, we were kind of talking about this the other day, but I was like, I think there's truth to people being like, oh, the only way I can stay home with my kids and have a relationship with them is to like be an influencer. Like I feel like I see that so much. Like anytime I see people get hate for being a mommy blogger or vlogger or whatever, they clap back. Their first thing is like, I get to spend a bunch of time with my kids, which I think is not the way to go about it. Filming and exploiting your kids is not the thing to do. But I do think is like a hard truth in America of like, it's very obvious that people cannot afford to spend time with their kids. And childcare is like insane.
Yes.
So a lot of people, the only people who get to like stay home with their kids are because they've taken like, they cannot afford childcare. So now they're being a stay-at-home mom because they can't afford childcare. But now they're like even more low income. It's like such a bad, sad cycle.
Yeah.
And the thing that is great about the internet, but also comes with challenges is like, these are just people. These are not people with media training. These are not people with even media literacy. I mean, these people they are just people, which is great because you get to see people that are really awesome who live in the middle of nowhere, like succeed, which is super cool. Yeah. But also has obviously a downside, which is like idiots become really successful. And then people are like listening to their thoughts as if they're not just like a random ass person. Yeah. And which can be complicated. But I think that, I don't even know what I'm saying. I just think that I empathize with them in that way, that people feel like they need to fully sell their brains to be able to like afford life and just like give. But sometimes people's brains, they're giving it to you and you're like, it seems maybe there's nothing there to be.
This is the only time your brain will be worth money is on the autopsy table at a med school. I understand exactly what you're saying. And that brain thing was for them. Yeah, like it is hard. America is incredibly expensive, and it's built that way to like make the poor poorer, and it sucks. I think crap. I keep forgetting what I'm gonna say. Yeah, okay, and also I understand that most creators are just people. We really are, and there is no playbook. That is true. However, there is a culture of influencers because there's a influencer culture, right? And so, like, if you're immersed in a culture long enough, you should pick up on what's cancelable, what's right, ads, you should disclose that you're doing them, filters, how people feel about them, who's, who will you should collab with. You pick up on all these things. So if you're like messing up within the first 2 years of being an influencer, I understand. Like immersing yourself in any new culture, you're going to flub. Yeah. But like if at a certain point, you've been in this game for a long time and you still like don't know, hey, I'm more into like aesthetics and exploiting my kids. I should make a podcast. Yeah. Like I'm like, I feel like you should have learned from literally Jason Nash. Like you got to invest, or like just all these people. Like you have to. You're not. I'm thinking about them specifically, but and that has nothing to do with the low income people. I'm very sorry about. We need to have more like financial literacy talks in like schools. But then the thing is on my For You page, I saw a lot of teachers talking about media literacy and, the No Kid Left Behind. So kids fail and then they're pushed to second, third grade. Meanwhile, there's people writing college essays and like there's one run-on sentence. And it's like, you're in a sophomore level like English class. Why are you writing like this? And then now there's people going on TikTok. When you have media literacy and someone says their opinion, you don't have to like, you have to, people have no media literacy. It's everywhere.
It is. That could be a whole fucking topic of this. Media literacy is one of the, and this is why I had to get off TikTok. After watching comments about Bridgerton.
Yeah.
After watching comments after watching Poor Things.
Yes.
After watching, I would see a movie and watching people comment on it. Having an opinion is one thing, but when you're just like, this is a complete lack of media literacy, and it can't be that we just can't comment on anything you don't like. That's not art. That's not how art is. It's like people were so upset about, they'll be upset about something that happened in a movie, even though the point of the scene was this is wrong.
Yeah.
But they're like, that was offensive because they showed that. And it's like, the point of film and art and all of this is to like comment on the world, and all these things happen in the world. Yeah. I think it's almost become, I think we've talked about this before, but it's like, there's a difference between something being offensive and saying that thing, talking about that thing. Just because you're talking about the thing doesn't mean you're being offensive.
Doesn't mean you're
talking,
condoning it.
Yeah, I'm not saying like saying a slur, that's different. But like, if we need to talk about topics that are hard to talk about. And art is a place that we can do. I just couldn't believe after Poor Things watching people. Did you see that movie?
No.
It was just like watching people fully not understand the entire film, basically, which I don't even usually care about. But I just think in this specific one, it really hit me that I was like, people are not understanding.
Yes.
Media. There's no media literacy. Or you watch people like even comments on YouTube videos of like how they're not understanding and I don't expect people to understand the industry, but the media literacy is very disturbing. Yeah.
And circling back to like you walking into a library and realizing that you can check out all these books. I think that's a genuine like holy crap, because when is another like system or like that in place in America, right?
It just didn't feel American. I felt like they were like, and there's desks here, you can use them at any time. And
you can hang out there, third spaces being erased, right? Like it's a service provided by the government. You can learn and educate yourself. Like all three of those things would send most Republicans into like a...
I know. I literally said, Jordan, I said, well, can I donate books to here? And Jordan was like, I mean, you can, but the government like provides
but you
money.
can.
And I was like, that's crazy. The government provides this place with books? That just feels like that would not... And I obviously knew all this information before, but just like being there, I was like, it feels like I'm in Denmark. What is going on?
Yeah, and so like if libraries didn't already exist, the government would shoot down that concept, and so like that's why they don't want to like invest in schools, and the education system has been completely destroyed in America. That's what they'll. Okay, so that's actually perfect because that wrapped up to what's on my For You page.
It's sad. It's just videos of teachers crying.
Yes, actually, really.
I have that one as well. Yes. Very upsetting.
Yeah, crying in every corner of America. So we feel your pain.
How would you be as a teacher? Because I saw this video the other day of this woman being like, here's why I'm a mean teacher. She had quotes around mean.
Yeah.
And she was just this woman talking about how like she is considered like the mean teacher. She's not the teacher that students come to at lunch to like, hang out in her classroom. Like she's stern, she's whatever. But she was like, here's why she was like, but I've been able to teach for like 25 years. And she was like, and a lot of my coworkers who were like the nice teacher lasted 2 years.
Yeah, I was just reading a book on activism burnout that like touches on this. I think I would be exactly how I am right now. I also being friends, going to like AA meetings with like drug addicts and alcoholics. They are incredibly abrasive people, and however they are there for recovery. And so the thing is to not take anything that they say personally. Yeah. And just, see them for the full human that they are. Also, I'm not a people pleaser. So that is the issue because, you want to be a good teacher. And I'd want to be like, good in the sense of like you're learning something. But like, I have pretty firm boundaries.
Yeah, that's good.
And also, I'm used to being verbally assaulted by children every single day for the past 10 years. So I think I can handle it, you know? And I also have accommodations for myself in terms of medication for public speaking. And I don't like talking to anyone like they're an idiot. And I realize that a lot of people... That's the reason why I love studying sociology and cultural anthropology is a lot of people have a lot of shit going on. Yeah. But you're here to learn. If you fall asleep, you fall asleep if you need to do something. But the thing is if I can enforce my boundaries and oh God, now I'm going to get an activism burnout. to show up for people, you have to be healthy, right? And also goodness is moralized. So like what is good to someone else could be different in goodness. So people, you just keep pushing and pushing, and they're almost like, you're bad for denying me, like, you know, help these children out. It's like, no. To show up for kids, to show up for people, you have to be of sound mind, right?
Yeah.
Like, and you have to be mentally, physically able to, right?
Yeah.
Just because other people are suffering doesn't mean that you should suffer the same because you can't show up for them.
Yeah.
So I think I would be like this.
Yeah, I think that's good. I think because that's what she said is like, I have a lot of boundaries. She's like, I'm a great teacher. I'm not mean to my students, but I'm just like, I've set very firm boundaries. I'm out of school the second I'm allowed to be out of school, I'm home. And it makes me able to show up better the next day. And I think I would struggle. I think I would be a teacher that would be like trying to adopt a child like that was in my class. It would be like not good. But it's like that. What is the point? I mean, you make on an individual level, of course, if there's a kid struggling and you can help, of course that changes that kid's life. But it's like, you can't just keep doing that. You can't adopt every kid who feels like they have a bad home life. You can't stay after class with every single kid and that actually like over time is not going to help anyone. I think you just being there every single day is what is like a helpful thing. And you're just one part of that person's life. You don't need to be but I think so much gets put on teachers. Like I can't even, because that's another thing that's served to me too on my For You page is like teachers. Yeah. And I'm like, I can't, these poor teachers are like spending what I assume is more than their whole paycheck when I see the stuff they're doing. Like, and I hope they're making money on TikTok because it's like they're posting these videos that's like, restock my self-care cabinet. Yeah. And it's like, this is insane. Like you have spent, I know how much that costs hundreds of dollars to do. And they're trying to set up all these spaces in their class this is an area for like neurodivergent children who need space to do this. And this is this corner. And they're setting it all up with their own funds. And it's like, it makes me like sick to my stomach. So I just like, I'm like, you're already doing, but you can't resolve everything. You can't help every single kid be like, you're helping by being a teacher. I think people say this all the time, but they're like, oh, my first grade teacher changed my life, or my second grade teacher changed my life. Not because they like became your surrogate parent. Yeah. But just like, my therapist talked to me about this before, where it's like, if you have a kid in your life who you're like stressed out for, or you're like, it's like, even just being there, like you see them every 6 months. It's like being there consistently and showing them kind of like a normal way of like interacting, like will change their life forever. You don't need to you don't need to spend thousands of dollars to be their parent, because that is insane. Yeah, and that's also a type of it's like a type of control. Even if it's like the best intention, it's like the premise behind Al-Anon is like partners or people in relationships with substance users. And the thing is you can be like, you can take care of someone, you can take care of an alcoholic all you want. But the thing is we are people who, like alcoholics, are people who make their own decisions. And yes, it sucks. Like obviously, like there's two things happening where it's like, yes, it's very real, like disease, you deserve help. However, the thing is it's not someone else's responsibility. Also, you cannot control whether for good or bad someone else's behavior. The best you can do is model the behavior that you'd like them to see. If they don't start to, do that behavior as well, then that's a sign you may need to take a step away. But yeah, like... Because also it's like, where does it end? Because at the end of the year, they're going to go to another class. And like you see kids every year where it's like they get really attached to a teacher because that teacher is like their parent. Yes. A lot of these kids, like they go before school for breakfast. They're all day at school. They go to the after school program. They fucking walk home. Yeah. They see they're not even seeing their parents, and their teacher is there. And then at the end of the year, it's like, well, that's a whole other level of trauma now, because they're basically... And I don't know, there's no way to fix this, but it's just like now that child is like losing a parent, basically. Yes. It's so sad. And as a kid, I remember seeing kids like that where they would just be sobbing on the last day of school. And I'd be like, what's wrong with you? But it's so sad because you're like, our teacher, even though our teacher, usually those kids like acted out. Yeah. Teacher like didn't even like they like liked them, but they were like always like, shut up. And now this kid is like sobbing because it's like, their parent. It's like so sad. So it's just like you as a teacher cannot make up for it. Wow, no one's ever given more unsolicited advice to a group of people. I said, listen up, teachers. Yeah. I'll tell you, as an influencer, I'll tell you how to do it. But I'm just like, I get this in other aspects of my life where it's like, it's actually more helpful for you to take care of yourself. Like self-care is community care show up for yourself because you can't continue just giving all of yourself.
Yes.
Or you'll teach for 2 years. Like that's just found this. Why I bring it up is because on my free page, this woman was talking about that.
Yeah.
Where she was like, I've been able to teach for 25 plus years because I have had very firm boundaries, and like kids are not allowed in my classroom at lunch. Like I don't care if you have something you really need to talk about. Like you're not allowed to come in it's my break. You know.
Yeah. No,
and I think it's
yeah.
I think it's important. Not to say that those teachers who are like allow kids in their class, that is amazing too. It's just like it's harder on you.
Yeah, and I think in a highly individualistic culture, it can burn you out, and it makes sense. Like it seems like, and I'm not saying this to be mean or anything. You're not the only person in the world. We're not the only people in the world. You are a teacher who's obviously burnt out. America has like shit on you. However, there are other people who are in that same building who feel that same weight, right? And so, like, if it was, I mean, you're the only teacher ever or the only person in each one of these children's lives that could take care of them to the fullest, then that would actually be debilitating and unfair to you. But like when you start to invest in yourself and your community and community care, and you know, we need to help out, like get teachers resources. So this is the community showing up for you. You realize like, oh, I now am more capable of modeling the behavior that I want them to exhibit, also teach them, and be full of energy, passion, right, and not just push these kids along. So
and we give this advice. I give this advice as a person who literally couldn't do this.
I give this advice to doctors.
I give this, but I just think if I was a teacher, I would not be able to do that. I would be a nightmare. I would be a wreck. I would be truly so like I couldn't take this advice. I think it's so hard to look at a kid and be like, you know, whatever. But anyways. On that note, I like this episode. What'd you think?
I liked it too. Yeah,
I like talking about what's on my For You page with you.
We literally are about to record a second episode, so we're just gonna we're probably gonna do this similar thing. We also are gonna plug the Patreon. Oh yeah, the Patreon guys. Remember when we said tab it? It's in the link below. Just fill out the survey because this is a long episode. We could chop up parts. You know,
take it out.
We could have, you know, chopped out the part with Matt and Abby. You go to the Patreon, you watch it, and you're like, I understand why it was chopped. No, kidding.
Yeah, we can make the podcast really confusing, where it's like you can't understand it unless it's on the Patreon. Who knows what we'll do?
Or you have ADHD and like that's
you don't notice at all.
You're like, whoa, dude. I'm like, yeah. But if you're a teacher, we are also removed from the situation and we're not teachers.
Going on over there.
But I mean, this is like, so you're like, oh, this is all easier said than done. And I understand that. Like, if I'm like, getting sober is healthier for you, everyone's like, oh, it's easier. So we understand. Yes.
Yeah, I literally can't even imagine. Thank you so much for listening.
Thank you.
And make sure to take the quiz on Patreon. Make sure to get your tickets to VidCon so you can come meet Sarah and I.
Please.
And thank you so much for listening. If you're listening on Spotify or Apple Podcasts or anywhere you get your podcasts, make sure to rate it and give us a little review, a positive review. We really appreciate it. It helps us so much. And if you're on YouTube, make sure to subscribe and comment down below what's on your For You page.
Seriously, what is?
Yeah. All right. Bye, Sarah.
Bye, Kendahl. Bye, guys.